Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and of YouTube, and welcome back to Ringlight Fables. Oh, hold on a second. The music is a wee bit too loud in my ears. Let me just fix that real quick. Okay. I am your host and dungeon master, Skijaramaz, otherwise known as Tone Shift, and with me today we have our full cast of players. We have SepiaWolfe playing Tuki, our Crovan rogue.
Hopefully, it actually records my first sentence this time.
Oh, was your first sentence missed last time?
Yeah.
Oh. Sad. We have Mick playing Boron, our half-dwarven battlemaster.
Huzzah!
We have Willyzin playing Ludviek, our Rythari paladin.
Ready to begin.
We have... My brain stopped for a second. We have Goldwyn playing Minnove, our kobold bard.
Hello!
And last but certainly not least, we have Impulsive playing Kari, our Crovan bard.
Caw, I'm a bird.
So,
That's what I said.
is it?
Oh,
Are you-
shit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah? Oh.
I dropped my cheese. Oh no.
You're laughing at a time like this? She dropped her cheese.
Just the
What
way...
is wrong with
Just after
you?
I cut it too.
Just the way you said it!
I dropped my cheese.
She is in mourning right now, mister.
Oh my
I'm turning
god!
I'm turning him into a real boy.
Kari, did you just say cheese in morning?
No.
Cheese in my
I said she's in mourning.
It sounded like you said cheese in morning, and I was about to
You-
do 1d4 points of psychic damage to you.
You think I wouldn't lay claim to such a brilliant pun as that?
You
I
got-
have to admit, it was a pretty Gouda pun.
Okay,
Will-
I'm just gonna... Alright.
Hello everyone. Welcome.
Top form today. We are in top form.
Oh man, this is gonna be something.
We started on time, so we gotta delay a little bit.
Is that how that works? I'm not so sure. Anyway, so, where last we left off,
That's how your mom works.
Kari. Where last we left off, our newly formed band of adventurers had completed a somewhat haphazard but well-executed raid on an old ruined tower south of the village of Lambsong that had been the place of residence for a band of con men and thugs operating under the authority of a individual known as Jaka Bleakfeather and his associates, in an effort to locate a abducted child by the name of Percy and see him safely home. After the end of that confrontation, Jaka and 3 of his subordinates were taken captive, while one had managed to escape, And the party, knowing that they still had about half of Jaka's gang to deal with when they got back to Lamsong and just generally really tired after the fight, knuckled down for a long rest, over the course of which each member of the party in turn took a chance to, well, with the exception of Boron, he didn't care. Everyone else took an opportunity to speak with Jaka and question him on his methods, his motives, and how he justifies his actions with varying degrees of success. With the rising of the sun, the party gathered up their things and gathered up Percy and began the journey north back to Lamsong. Tuki, being the one most haunted by her yearning, took Percy and pulled ahead of the rest of the group, moving at a normal travel pace while everyone else was forced to move at a slow one, leaving them about half an hour behind by the time she made it back to town. Upon her return to Lamsong, she took Percy to the Lamsong Inn and to Jenny, one of the friends of the party who had put them up at least in part to this hunt and search to begin with. Upon arriving at Jenny's inn, she brought Tuki up to speed on what she missed while the party was away, namely that in the night, the escaped enemy from the confrontation with Jaka's forces at the tower returned to town and spoke with the third and final of the figureheads of Jaka's organization, their spokesman and charmer of the group, a human man by the name of Bannon Geordie, who then seemingly, at least by all indications, dismissed all of the other thugs and members of this gang to scatter to the winds, seemingly in differing directions to make capture all the more difficult. But Bannon remained behind, rallying the townspeople and spinning a lie that the party were actually not here to help, but had attacked Jaka's gang to steal away the coin they had made from the townsfolk in their, what we now know to be con, as Jaka's gang had put forth this deception of a beast in the area, hounding the town, and were being paid by the villagers to hunt it down and keep the people safe from it. However, with Tuki being just the way she is, there's no way this lie is gonna hold out for long. She tried to make it back to the rest of the party, but wound up getting caught by some of the villagers who had been convinced of her and everyone else's supposed misdeeds, and was even confronted by Bannon himself, who, in an effort to try and shut down her rather well-formed arguments as to her innocence, tried to stab her to death, but it didn't exactly work because Tuki knows how to sword fight and he don't. Over the course of the resulting fight, their back-and-forth argument led to a stalemate of allegiance within the villagers before the sudden and unexpected arrival of Percy, wielding a improvised weapon in the form of a tail feather that Tuki had given him earlier, arrived on the scene, bapping Bannon in the hip to try and get him to stop attacking Tuki, since Percy and Tuki seemed to have formed a pretty quick friendship, all things considered. Knowing that the jig was up with this witness on sight, Bannon dropped any and all pretenses of civility or morality and immediately took Percy hostage, rapier blade held up to the boy's throat, and made a very simple demand. No one gets close and permits Bannon to leave town in a given direction of his choice. At sundown, someone is to bring him Jaka. Only one person is to make that approach, and in exchange he'll return Percy. Such is the offer he made to Tuki, and in full earshot of all of the other bystanders, who were seemingly shocked into silence and inaction by the abrupt turn of events. Tuki did attempt to make a counter-offer of sorts, but that offer has not swayed Bannon. The counter-offer being, take me as a prisoner instead. But Bannon didn't seem to buy it. And that is where we left off last time, and is where we shall pick up now. The townsfolk are watching on as this situation continues to unfold, but just passively, Tuki, I'll say you are able to sort of deduce. They are starting to sort of shake off the shock of it. They're starting to, pull themselves together and actually respond. You can hear voices rising up from the crowd as you and Bannon are staring each other down. What the fuck are you doing? Let the kid go! You asshole! And among other things, voices starting to clamor up and up and up. But Bannon's attention is focused on you for the time being.
This is why you go Scorched Earth.
Is it?
Yeah.
Scorched Earth would hit the kid, though.
No. I meant back at the camp.
Oh, well.
I will say, you all had the option to try and pursue the one who ran away, and none of you did that.
I didn't actually. I was dead.
You were
I
unconscious.
didn't even remember there was one who got away, but okay.
I thought he was already out of combat. Like there was no way to catch him.
I mean, he was out of combat, but like you have a kobold with a powerful sense of smell and a Rythar, which are known for being excellent hunters. You had options to chase him down.
Minnove didn't see the guy. Minnove didn't know he was there.
Fair.
That is a good point. I will remember that for the future.
Yeah, you had options. It wouldn't have been a guarantee that you would have caught him because he had a big head start on you going full sprint, but it would have been possible, and none of you even tried.
No, we like the challenge. We like the danger.
Yeah.
I was too much into that game mode. I wasn't thinking outside the box. I will endeavor to think outside the box.
Anyways, so, Tuki. What you doing?
Tuki's fast.
Oh no.
You are fast indeed. Whether or not you're fast enough to cross the distance and get Percy away before he gets hurt now, well, that's another
Well, we
matter.
were fencing.
Indeed.
Can't be that far. I think she's going to lunge forward and try to grab the blade to pull it away from Percy so that he doesn't have a chance to swing or thrust or whatever.
Oh boy. Okay.
Risk.
Risky move. Opening with a big risky move. Okay. This would qualify as a grapple, wouldn't it? I believe.
Or a disarm.
Disarm. Yeah. Disarm. Use an attack to make attack roll opposed by target's athletic strength or acrobatics dex check. Target has advantage of holding the item with 2 or more hands. Bannon is not holding the item with both hands, only one. Alright.
So which of my... Would you like acrobatics or athletics?
I mean, it just says in disarm, use an attack to make attack roll opposed by target's athletics or acrobatics. It doesn't say, at least not in my screen, what you use.
Okay.
I'll say you can use sleight of hand for this.
Okay. Please. God.
Oh,
God damn it.
oh, that's not good. That is really not good. That is a natural 1 for a total of 9.
Oh god.
Curse you, RNG.
Oof. Okay. So, sort of feeling this sort of frantic acceleration of the situation, there's like this momentary like, shit, screw it, sort of moment of panic, Tuki. You sort of lunge forward sort of in a frantic effort to just get the blade away from the kid. And like you hear the voices of the crowd sort of rising up in a shrill panic at this abrupt movement, and Bannon is somewhat faster. That being said, I do have to make a roll for him. Ooh. Okay.
Everybody fails.
Yeah. So, you come charging in, you see Bannon sort of tensing. And his blade is right up on Percy, so I don't think he really needs to make an attack. So Percy is going to take damage. So Percy takes 7 points of piercing damage and immediately drops. There's this horrific moment. Bannon's blade doesn't immediately, cut Percy's throat. He sort of staggers back a second from the abruptness of your lunge, so the blade sort of dips and leaves, this horrible, peeling slice sort of across Percy's chest, drawing this momentary shrill out of him before, as some blood sort of slaps up across his chin and face, he just goes limp in Bannon's hands.
Since it's still my turn, and that was an attack, can I use fast hands to pull out my med kit?
You can use fast hands to pull out your med kit, yes. So, we're not technically in a turn order in the moment, at the moment, but so as Percy sort of drops and you're immediately scrambling to try and help him, Bannon is backing up. Oh, you. And he turns to start trying to run, only for a fist to crack him right in the face as he tries to run by the lumberjack fellow you played horseshoes with the other day.
Oh my god, he's back!
Get him, Gav!
I missed him so much!
Yeah, his name was Gav, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was Gav! Oh my goodness, Gav!
So Gav is making an attack roll, and he's making it at advantage because Bannon is not in his right state of mind right now. He doesn't have a club, but I'll use the club action. That's an 8 to hit. So as Bannon sort of turns to sort of start running, just a big-ass punch comes flying in and sort of arrests his momentum a bit. But as of right now, your attention is on Percy, Tuki. You're not necessarily seeing much going on with what's going on with Bannon. So, you are using that healing kit, I take it.
Yes, to stabilize without a medicine check.
All right. So, you quickly set about doing what you can, just applying the salves and the bandages, and it's extremely upsetting and unsettling. You're not used to seeing injured children. But with the use of a medicine kit, a healer's kit rather, after a few seconds you feel somewhat confident, sort of putting down these bandages with some ointments on them, sort of taking notes from what you learned about treating injuries back in Idenir. You are fairly certain that you've at least bought Percy a few more minutes. But he is also a child. Their bodies aren't necessarily designed to withstand damage like this.
No. I don't have a potion. I'll ask if there is a healer.
Right. You kind of look up and you call out for a healer. No one really seems to be paying you much attention at the moment, though, as right now there is effectively a dog pile. Bannon has been ganged up on. You can kind of hear his voice in the crowd pleading, but it's not really meaning much. Everyone who had weapons, pitchforks or clubs or what have you, they're going to town.
They're in the town, though.
You know what I mean. It is safe to assume that Bannon is dead at this point. The guy got dragged to the ground by a horde of angry villagers who proceeded to stab the shit out of him with pitchforks. He was surrounded on all sides by dozens of people. I'm not going to waste time on rolls with that. He doesn't make it. You just hear his voice on the inside. "Now get off of me! Get off! Stop!
Like Scar from The Lion King.
Kinda, yeah.
She's gonna do her best to put on her most authoritative voice to tell them to check his pockets for potions.
All right.
Healing.
All right. So, sort of, go ahead and make a persuasion check for me. 13. A handful of the villagers sort of glance back in your direction, and as the sort of a now very jittery and sort of anxious crowd is sort of starting to disperse a bit, you see that Jenny has finally emerged into the crowd and seems to be the first one to take your command to heart. She quickly pats down the mangled remains of Bannon's pockets very thoroughly and then just looks at, nothing.
Is there a healer in town?
No, there's not. We're farmers.
Somebody look after him. I'm going to get one of my friends. Or both of them. Or all three of them.
Right.
Yeah. I'll start booking it as fast as Tuki can possibly go to get any of her companions that have healing capabilities. Ludviek, Minnove. I don't know if Kari does.
All right. It'll take you a few minutes, even going at a full tilt run to reach them. So that makes it a good time to cut over to the rest of the group. As you are walking north toward Lamsong, with your prisoners in tow, is there any conversations you all wish to be having right now?
Minnove is plucking her instrument, but very annoyingly, just so it bugs Jaka specifically.
My monitor is turning itself on and off.
Well, tell it to stop that.
Yeah. Well, now that I've mentioned it, it hasn't done it.
See, now the technology obeys. The machine spirit knows what it is.
Fear will keep them in line.
Exactly.
Okay, hold on a second. My Discord appears to have disappeared, so I need to close it and open it again.
Oh, it moved on.
The curse moved to Skij, of course.
No, my monitor is fine. It's just my Discord wouldn't open when I clicked it.
Curse you,
The
Discord.
curse is variable.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll work on that. Y'all roleplay.
Yeah. As for Ludviek, he'd probably make a comment of there's like Minnove, you've been testing your lute for quite a while now.
Yeah, I just can't hear the right tune. Here, you hear this is a little bit flat, but then you get up to here and it's ding, a little sharper. I don't know, Ludviek. What do you think, Ban? What do you think, Boron?
Might work. I don't know.
Kari, what do you think of my lute? Do you think my sitar has a problem?
I think I know exactly what you're doing, and frankly, it's starting to become very annoying.
What? No, I don't. Listen, I don't have an idea.
I am about to smash it on a rock.
That's rude.
So vicious. I get you.
Well, there's no
mockery.
need to be petty. There's no need to be petty about this.
Might be vicious mockery. Gosh.
All right, I do actually need to ask you all to pause for a second because my Discord is just not cooperating with me at all. I gotta restart it.
Oh, no.
I'll pause the recording until it's fixed. All right, we're back. That was a bigger pain in the ass than it had any right to be. Proceed.
You know, I'm not entirely sure what you mean there by that, Kari. And honestly, quite offended that you're suggesting something like that.
Now, you two. We've got quite a ways to go. So, let's just keep it mellow, eh? Alright, no need to antagonize anyone. We have everything taken care of.
Hardly antagonizing.
But you need not be petty about things like this.
But that's like my whole thing.
We noticed.
You do speak! I thought you guys were just a squeak toy.
No, do not insult the prisoners. It's alright, I understand. You want to be angry right now, but it is not time. Not time for this.
Alright, fine. Yeah.
At about this point, I would as you're sort of coming up over a rise, who would you say is in the front of the group?
Probably, I would think Boron, right?
I would
Or would
say
Boron-
more in the back, but I can be in the front. I can be in the front, no problem.
Or no, I mean, I forget what we said last time. Were you in the back and I was in the front?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's how it was.
Okay,
yeah.
but Ludviek is up front.
All right. Then in that case, Ludviek, you catch it before anyone else. But you spot, your sort of your good lion hunter's eyes, you catch sight of shape darting toward you, toward your group from town, and it only takes you a short bit of time to realize that it's Tuki, and she does not appear to be in a calm state of mind.
Ludviek readies his hammer and says, "There might be trouble. Prepare yourself."
Not again.
All right.
Ludviek would like to a short. He'd jog up to her, help cover the distance.
All right. So you jog up, and after a short time, you two are running into each other. Take it away.
Ludviek, they hurt Percy? Bannon?
Tuki, come. Take a breath. What happened? Percy got hurt?
Yes, there's no time to explain everything. He got stabbed in the neck.
And Ludvik's eyes just go wide, and he turns around and shouts, "The boy got hurt! Keep going to town. I'm going on ahead." It's like, and then he just basically nods to Tuki, stows his hammer, and just they start booking it.
All right.
I guess, yeah, all right, yeah, he's got 35 speed, and so that's 70 speed over the course of every round.
All right.
Not as fast as Tuki.
Either way. So, how does everyone else react?
Minnove is very panicked. Go!
I keep a good look
Who's
in our...
Percy?
Oh, Kari. Oh, that's the boy that kind of helped, sort of. Yeah.
Oh,
Ow?
that's not good.
No, it's not! Yeah, go on! Woo! And, can I give bardic inspiration to someone?
You can, yeah.
Does,
I'll allow.
Tuki or Ludviek, which one would you appreciate more?
That's up to you.
Well,
Up to you?
I will give it to Tuki, because, yeah,
All right.
just in
RNG.
case.
RNG has been a little mean to our bird.
Yeah.
All right. So you continue making the frantic run back to town, Ludviek and Tuki. As you're making it back into the town limits, there's this very tense electric energy in the air. Like, the handful of people you see around are visibly like tense, like full body lock-up sort of tension. A lot of, like, sort of scrambling as people are trying to find some idea of how to help the situation. It's not a town with a healer, unfortunately, so most of them are just kind of idling tensely. Tuki, you remember the way easily enough, though, and swiftly guide Boron between a handful of buildings.
I think it meant Ludviek.
Ludviek, excuse me, yes.
Boron can teleport.
A, B, C, D, E, F, gun! Anyway. Oh, it's shuffling. Okay, either way. So, you quickly round a bend, and you see the, you come to the scene. Percy is sort of still lying where you left him, Tuki, but he currently has Jenny sort of propping him up slightly, or just sitting next to him, rather, and you do see a handful of others, Juma among them, sort of loudly talking amongst themselves as you're approaching. We can't just leave him out here on the street. Well, where else do you propose we take him, eh? I don't have the tools to help him back at the inn. We don't have a chapel or a healer or an apothecary or anything else. No, but still, the middle of town, it's not a great place for this. There's no privacy, no room.
I guess we would hear that, to which then Ludviek comes charging him and says, in matters of emergency, you forego any form of... Word! What is the word? Not decency. What do you got?
Privacy?
Privacy, yeah, I guess is. In times of emergency, you forego privacy. No, where's the boy?
Right here, right here.
He sees them. Alright then, so then Ludviek, he's already stored away his weapons. He's just pulls out his ring stone and immediately goes for Cure Wounds, put his hand on the kid, and alright, so D8 plus modifier.
You do have lay on hands.
Yeah, but that's yeah. Better to use one.
You've already committed to the cure wounds.
Yeah, already committed to the cure wounds. Plus, it's just. Let's see. Where's the? Sorry, I'm just trying to scroll back. What's my charisma? 3. Okay, it's 3. Okay, if I did the math right, this should work. Okay.
All right, 6 hit points. So, you pull out your ringstone, start uttering the familiar incantations that were taught to you when you started down this path. You put one hand on Percy's shoulder so that the energy has an easier conduit to flow through you and into him. And anyone watching, there was like a visible sort of spreading of red through the bandages that Tuki had applied, indicating he was still bleeding, and badly too. But as you apply this arcane energy, slowly but surely, the worst of it begins to end, and before long, the spreading stops, and Percy's rapid, shallow, shaky breaths begin to stabilize and even slow to something a little more relaxed.
All right, I'd like to do a quick medicine check to see, how his overall condition is.
All
after
right.
that.
With a 23, there's the luck. Jesus. So, Ludviek, you spend a bit of time sort of checking over Percy, and to the best assessment you can provide, with everyone else sort of hanging on, just watching urgently for any word you have, you get the impression that Percy is probably going to have a scar. But otherwise, you do not foresee any permanent damage, at least not to his body, aside from that scar. You expect physically he'll make a full recovery.
After that, it's like, oh, dang it, sorry. Headphone knocked out. Okay, I'm back.
You never went anywhere.
Okay.
We could hear you, but go on.
Okay, dang. All right. Anyway, to which then Ludviek then goes, it's like, all right, the worst is past. He will recover. He'll be quite hungry, and he'll still have a bit of recovery, but he will recover just fine. Physically, at least.
Oh, thank the five.
He's going to need plenty of bed rest and food after this. And definitely someone to watch out for him.
Oh, don't
Does
worry.
the boy have any family remaining?
I don't think so, no. But I was already pretty much knuckling down to look after him anyway. At least for now. Is it safe to move him?
It would be safe to move him, yes. Get him into a bed. Ludviek picks him up and says, "Show me where you need him."
Right. Come on. I've got my own room back at the inn. I was gonna tuck him in there for a while.
Yeah. Ludviek then turns to Tuki and says to her, "You did a good thing, Tuki. Thank you."
It's my fault.
Oi! Jenny kind of walks over and puts a hand on your shoulder. No. None of that. Not for one bloody second, alright?
Okay.
You're not the asshole who was putting a knife to the throat of a child.
She'll
Ludviek
just
oh yeah.
nod and then go and pick up the belt that she dropped, but she's just going to be walking in circles around town.
As you're sort of starting to wander off, you hear over your shoulder, "Juma, would you mind?" "Right." And the Kraven shopkeeper sort of jogs to catch up to you and falls into stride beside you, Tuki. Doesn't say anything, but he is accompanying you, at least for now. Meanwhile, Jenny leads Ludviek back to the inn. "Right, back here," she says as she sort of guides you towards a little room sort of tucked off behind the counter, sort of adjacent to the kitchen area. Looks like just a tiny little living space and sleeping room for herself. A bed tucked into one corner, another bed off to one side. You're not exactly sure why she has two beds, but she does. Chest of drawers, little end table with some odds and ends, a little bookcase with a handful of odds and ends scattered across. And Jenny sort of gestures to the bed on the left-hand side of the room. "That one over there."
Ludviek goes over and puts him down. Turns to her and says, "All right, he, as I said, will recover in time physically, but this is going to have quite the damage on him mentally. I hope you understand this.
I understand.
To have so much horrible things, so much pain for one so young, it is not something I'd wish on anyone. But if you can be there for him, that will be enough."
Well,
You
you
are a
know what
good
they
wo-
say. It takes a village, right?
Indeed. I can offer nothing more than my own prayers for you and for him. But for now,
Yeah, I see.
He
You
is-
saved his life with that bit of magic.
I'm just doing what Suna would want, to make sure the laughter of children continues. Though I know it may be a while before he can find a way to smile again. But this has already been taken care of. There are other more pressing matters. Now, Jenny, was there a town mayor or leader that you had?
Yeah, we've got a mayor.
Well, you may need to go get him. We were able to capture some of the bandits, specifically Jaka, the leader.
Yeah,
He is still alive.
I heard about that. Tuki sort of got me up to speed.
I would say that from what I understand, the one who committed the murders was the Raithir, and he has already been dealt with. As for the rest of them, Jaka obviously was the ringleader. But as for the others, they seem to be no more than footmen. I'm not sure how your town will handle the following. But I would say he will most likely want leniency on his men. Jakov, I mean. He will most likely ask for him to take the brunt of the punishment, if there is any. I'm not quite sure what your town is in the mood for, especially after what that bastard did to the poor boy. But I would say I will leave that up to you, folks. In the interim, let us go.
Yeah.
And he makes his way out.
She sort of follows you, and as you're going, she says, I imagine the mayor's probably going to want a handful of words with you lot, too. Whole lot of things just happened, and y'all were right in the dead center of it.
Not on purpose. Seems to be wherever we go, things happen.
Well, regardless, you can bet he's probably going to have some questions for you, love.
I'm sure all of us would be able to provide any answers he needs.
Good, because I sure as fuck can't.
Just leaves it at that.
All right, closes the door to let Percy get some rest for himself. All right. Outside, after a short while, the rest of you find yourselves making it back into town. I'll say that for those of you who stuck with Jaka and the rest of his subordinates, I would like everyone in that group to make an insight check for me, please.
Hooray.
Oh.
Goody.
The highest of highs, the lowest of lows, Kari.
All right. So Kari and Boron both notice it. Minnove is a little too anxious about the word that Percy was injured to notice, but everyone else notices that as you're sort of leading Jaka and his subordinates along, Jaka is visibly tense.
I'm gonna watch him very, very closely. Since I'm expecting he'll make some sort of run for it or something.
With Kari and your natural 20, I'll give you a few extra details given your familiarity with other Kraven. Sort of the tension he's putting on display and just the general mien he's wearing on his face. You get the impression that what emotion he's feeling right now seems to be dread. Like you immediately get the impression that he's not tensing to attack or lunge or anything like that. He's tense because he is dreading what you'll find.
Oh. Okay. Kari is just going to put a hand on Boron's shoulder and just shake his head like, nah. You know, like, I don't worry about it.
Right. All right, well, after a short time, you find yourselves stepping back into town. Did Boron make any, or not Boron, Ludviek make any effort to meet the group outside?
Yes, actually. He'd go to meet up with the group to assail their fears.
All right.
I guess he'd probably meet them at the edge of town by the time they got back, so...
Yeah, probably.
All right.
So the rest of you see Ludviek sort of waiting for you by the edge of town as you're pulling up.
How's the boy?
Boy?
Ludviek.
He holds up both of his hands in a placating gesture and says, "The boy is fine. He will recover. Physically, at least."
Sheesh.
I'm afraid your compatriot did not live through the town's retribution, he says to Jaka.
You say that, and there's a brief pause before Jaka just... Good.
Well, the mayor is going to need questions from us. We should probably head to him next.
Where, is Tuki around?
Tuki has, she needed some time alone. But she has someone keeping an eye on her.
Probably a good idea.
You guys do the questioning. I'll go check on Tuki and as well.
The mayor may also need opinion from both of you as well. So if you can bring her by, that would be good.
Yeah. You guys go on, if you can.
Alright, so it's going to be pretty obvious where the mayor is at this point. Unless you want me to do a perception check or something.
You haven't really had cause to go to the mayor's abode, so,
I guess it'd be simple as just literally asking anybody.
yeah.
So, he would just point to the nearest person. It's like, excuse me, you there. Where is the mayor's abode?
It's sort of a little on the lankier side, human woman, sort of red hair done up in a bun, kind of a freckled face. She sort of looks past you for a moment at Jaka and his subordinates with just this very ugly scowl. She doesn't comment on them, though, and just, north side of town. There's a big tree there. Apparently that's where the old minstrel played his music for the sheep way back when. Mayor's house was built up next to that.
Thank you very much, madam. Have a good day. Just he nods to the group and they start heading that direction.
All right. Before we commit fully to that, I just want to check in with Tuki real quick. Are you just going in circles around the town and not saying anything? Is there anything you want to say to Juma as you're walking?
I think she's very torn and kind of struggling, so I think she's been quiet.
All right. And Juma respects that silence then. He's keeping you company, but he's not trying to compel you to talk. All right, then. So, for the rest of you then, making your way to the mayor's abode, those of you with familiarity with the general sort of level of comfort enjoyed by mayors or landlords or whatever title they tend to go by in their given region of Valrive, this one is a fairly humble abode. All told, it's on the smaller side. Only a single story. It's nicer than the surrounding structures, yes, larger too, but not by so much that it's like screaming, "I'm important!" And you can already see a handful of people sort of chatting with a sort of an older human gentleman out front of the front door. He's sort of a little on the taller side, holding himself very upright, sort of has a sort of black and gray hair, sort of a pulled back, sort of tied as sort of a, not a ponytail, but just kind of pulled back and tied back behind his head a bit. It gives him a very sort of, if you're familiar with the Lord birth sign from Oblivion, he kind of has that look going for him in terms of his hair. Kind of slicked back, kind of a well-trimmed mustache and beard thing going on. And just generally nice clothes, seems to be an older gentleman. And as you're approaching, he looks up toward you. Spared me the trouble of having to come find you. Sort of takes a quick count of your group with his finger. You're missing a few.
The others could be along in a while, I assume.
Gotcha, something for you. And Boron will take out the box with the gold he found that apparently belonged to the villagers. Places it on the ground. I hope it's all there.
Jaka pipes up. It will be. We hadn't had a chance to spend any of it before this happened. The elder gives Jaka sort of an up and down look. What am I to do with you? One of the people he was talking to a second ago kind of jabs an angry finger in Jaka's direction. His henchman almost killed that kid! Should hang him from a rope! If that's what you want to do to me, then fine. But leave the people behind me out of it. Why bloody should we? Is my trial to be held right here on your front doorstep, Mayor? The Mayor sort of tilts his head at Jaka. I suppose that is rather indignant, isn't it? I have enough fires to put out right now, and tempers are flared. You'll be housed downstairs until everything's calmed down a bit, and then I'll decide what to do with you. Fine. You're awfully uncombative about it. What would it get me at this point? Fair enough. Right then. And the mayor sort of turns and gestures off to one side, sort of off to the left of the structure, and you see there's like a smaller sort of shack sort of off to the left, not nearly as pleasant looking. We have a structure over there. Normally it's just for keeping people who get a bit too rowdy when drunk on party nights. You can stick them in there and we'll deal with them later.
Right.
Oh, and where are my manners? And the mayor sort of holds out a hand and puts on a obviously forced and strained smile. My name is Maron Dace. Pleasure.
Likewise.
Hello.
As I said, I have a lot of fires to put out around town. Once you get these ones put away, make yourselves comfortable at the inn. I'll seek you out tonight once I've got more things squared away.
Well, Boron, you're the one who has the rope.
Yeah, I'm gonna lead these guys towards this shack, whatever it is.
All right. So, stepping inside, it's little more than like a single room jailhouse. Kind of cobblestone, dirt, sort of dust smothered wooden, not wooden, cobblestone floors, dust smothered. There's like a handful, there's like a single like iron bar wall sort of dividing the space in half, which is then itself sort of divided into thirds, making for a total of 3 cells, I'd say maybe like 10 feet by 10 feet each. Each one decorated only with a rudimentary cot, a bench, a bucket, and a very vertically shallow iron-barred window letting in shafts of sunlight. There's also a desk sort of off to one side with some papers scattered across it and a table behind it, backlit by another window, probably where whoever is in charge of minding the drunks that night is in charge of sitting. Or it just usually used for drunks, maybe for thieves or pickpockets. And today it will house bandits.
These guys have a fucking prison and they don't have a healer. Okay.
It's a drunk
All right.
tank.
It's a drunk tank.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. Towns tend to have those.
I'll try and separate the inmates as best I can.
Yeah. No matter what, one cell is going to have 2 people, so.
Yeah.
So, you sort of push Jaka into one of the cells. He doesn't put up any resistance.
Too bad.
Can I make sure that there's no sharp implements or anything they could use to, cut their bindings with? I mean, this is just meant to be a drunk tank, so they probably don't think anyone's going to be too dangerous in here. So they I want to look around to see if there's any obvious security hazards.
12. I mean, you do spot like one or two things where someone with sufficient guile, time, or tools might be able to mount an escape. This is a very small village. Their security measures are very rudimentary. But you're not getting the impression necessarily that Jaka or his subordinates necessarily have the skill sets to effectuate that sort of escape. Jaka's he's not a rogue. You searched them all fairly thoroughly earlier when tying them up. They're deprived of their weapons and their armor and their gear. They have no tools. The only sharp implements at present would be Jaka's claws, and those wouldn't necessarily be able to do much against, like, the stone walls or the metal bars.
All right. Ludviek nods, just like satisfied.
Right. Gonna lock these guys in. Take the key. And I'm gonna sit down on the desk and sort through the papers that are there.
All right. It just seems to largely be an assortment of just basically just like a list of people who have been in here, how many times they've been in here, and for how long on each visit. It's basically a visitation list, and the most recent sheet is bear.
Okay.
As you're
I'm
sort
gonna
of
take the names of these guys and jot them down.
All right. As you're sort of doing that, Jaka is going to give you a glance, Ludviek. Sunan.
Aye.
A word.
Ludviek moves into within whisper distance. He assumes this conversation he wants to keep private. And
for whatever it's worth, I'm sorry the child was hurt. Thank you for saving him.
You are welcome. But I think at this point, he was the only one who could be saved in this situation.
Not the only one. And he sort of glances sideways towards the other cages. Look.
You are definitely a father to your men, from what I can see.
I saw people suffering like me, and I just tried to give them a chance to take back. Evidently, I failed. But that's my wrongdoing, not theirs. Nothing they have done is beyond forgiveness. They've drawn no blood here. They were here at my behest.
Make sure you bring that to the mayor as well.
I will. But you are the Sunan, not I. I am asking you to advocate for mercy for them.
And, I'm just gonna... May I just, intuit him, just, I want to...
Insight check.
Yeah. Not a very good one, but...
I mean, you're not necessarily the best at reading Kraven, but you're not getting any hints of deception or malice or anything like that.
Yeah. I would not expect so anyway. Just, passive into it.
Yeah.
He would say, Ludviek would just close his eyes, think, breathe out through his nose. I might be able to do that. And what it seems, from what I can see, The ones who have spilt blood have already paid for that. In double.
If your
Enough death
people
is
had,
hap-
if your people hadn't killed Bannon for what he did, I would have.
Help DM. What was the name of that Rythar again? The
Corivas.
that one. Korivas is like, and what Korivas has done, he is paid for as well. Very well. I can make no promises, except that I will try to advocate on behalf of your other men.
I can ask
Maybe
for
they
nothing
can-
else.
Maybe they can work off their debt for the farmers of the people of this land. Maybe. Who knows? But I will try. That I promise you.
Thank you. I'll not keep you.
So- Soon I'll be with you. Neatly, and he backs off.
You sort of step away, you hear Jack sort of muttering under his breath. For once, if she can find the time. And he just heads to the back of his cell and sits down and falls quiet.
I find this man completely insufferable. I just want you to know that. I want to choke him to death.
Good for you.
I would have expected nothing less.
Oh, Kari. Alright, but I don't say that loud. Alright, so... Actually, does Kari say anything?
I mean, he wasn't listening to your whispering.
Alright.
I was talking as me.
Alright. I'm just saying, Kraven hearing.
He just has, like, no legal case here for any of his men. Like, they're all literally just as guilty as him.
True. True. It's just a matter of perspective. But we'll deal with that when we get to it.
All right. So, meanwhile, let's cut over to Minnove, who was seeking out Tuki.
Yeah.
Moral
Am I
support
able to-
kobold.
Am I able to spot her anywhere immediately, or do I have to do some snooping?
I won't necessitate a roll here. It doesn't take you very long.
Okay. Minnove, I guess, sees Tuki kind of just... What's Tuki doing?
Chewing on a talon while making circles around the town. Very wide ones, but
Very wide paces. Minnove is gonna approach the Kraven vendor and the Tuki,
All right.
and you know, chewing on your nails are not very good for you. Chips your beak.
Huh?
Your talon. You're chewing on it quite frantically. Is that
I
something
want-
you do when you're scared? Nervous?
not usually. I want to run as far as I can, but I want to stay and make sure he's okay, and I can't
Hey.
focus.
Okay. What usually helps you focus then, I guess? Or,
Walking.
walking? Well, let's walk. Continue, I guess. Pace. I'll keep pace. I got a stride.
Circles don't really help.
No. You're never gonna get anywhere in circles. You'll always go around and around chasing your own tail. Never
Mhm.
getting anywhere.
So I've pretty much made a straight shot northwest.
What's northwest?
Home to here.
Home? Whereabouts are you from?
You heard of Leaslan and Pulvera?
I believe I've heard them in taverns every little bit. Where I'm from, there's quite a few
You can make a history
speakers
check
and
if you like.
checkers. Yeah. Where is history? Did I click it? I didn't click it. Oops. Oh,
Ah!
I clicked it twice, I guess. Whoopsie doodle.
All right, a 9. So, your understanding, like, this is fairly common knowledge. You didn't need to roll high. Parvara is the nation directly to the south of you. It's this sort of big, sort of a collection of various independent city-states that formed a sort of republic-based sort of alliance, and as such are referred to as the Parvaran republics. They are known largely for having a very powerful sort of sense of competition amongst themselves, and also a lot of economic sway in the broader sort of region of central North Shore. Laeslan is one of those city-states that is located on the Krunen Island, way off the east of the mainland, sort of at the farthest most reaches of the sort of circular, almost crater-shaped string of islands that sort of entombs the inner sea of Parvara.
Okay.
And it's known for being one of the most independent of the Parvaran city-states.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, you don't really know much.
I've heard talk of it. I've never been personally. I've never really seen it. I haven't really left Valrive, to be completely honest with you.
In Valerie for less than a week or 2.
Oh, really? Well,
I'm not
welcome.
really sure if the order starts.
I'd say at this point you've probably been in Valrive for at least a week, probably a little longer.
Well, welcome. Unfortunate that this is your introduction, but welcome.
This is more like the 3rd introduction.
Oh, right. Anyways, you can see that Minnove is trying to say words here that she's kind of timid to speak. So, I only heard a little bit of what happened, but are you alright?
No.
What?
No matter what anybody says, it's my fault.
What would be your fault? Genuinely, what? I completely out of the loop on what's going on here. All I know is you ran off with Percy, and then you're running back saying he was hurt. And from what I've overheard, just by conversation, it was pretty bad.
Brought him here. I brought him to Jenny. I didn't try to stay hidden. I knew that they had made up stories about us, so I was going to hurry back as soon as possible. But I knew that when they saw me, it would look bad if I kept running, so I stopped. And I tried to plead my case, and Bannon just kept lying and accusing, and
I'm still not hearing where it's your fault, hon.
he attacked, and I refused to attack back, and apparently Percy slipped out of Jenny's sight and came and attacked Bannon to protect me. And then Bannon held him hostage, and I thought I was fast enough. I thought I could get the blade out of his hand. I thought I could.
Tuki. And Minnove's gonna kind of hold her claw out to reach over to her, but kind of stop before touching her, giving her her space. That is very bad. Banning this, Tuki that. But from what I've heard from just around, you saved him, Tuki. You do realize that, right?
Didn't have to get hurt.
You might have put him in danger, but hell, that boy was in danger even before we got here. You took him to safety. And
It's done. My actions that got him stabbed.
your actions didn't do anything, hon. Your actions were part of a my goodness, I'm domino effect that spiraled out of absolute control. No one would have thought that Bannon would have done that. I just as shocked as you, honestly. I thought he was the accountant, to be honest. Absolutely. Didn't seem like the charming, handsome type that everyone was talking about, let alone a child killer.
He didn't
Here.
want to. Just wanted to use him as leverage to get Chaka back. And, get out of town with his life.
Well, I can tell you for certain he's not doing that latter part.
No. No, I thought he ran, and if Percy's pulse had stopped, I would have shot him in the back. I do not care.
You have every right to be mad, Tuki. You're allowed to cry as well if you feel like. It's stressful, it's emotional. That I don't know what I would have done. You are so much braver than I ever would be in that situation. Percy, too, honestly. Boy's got guts. Jeez, coming in front of a rapier and living to tell the that's character building right there. Tuki, I want to propose something to you, okay?
Right?
I plan on seeing Percy before heading off to bed.
Mhm.
Would you care to join me?
Like that.
Okay. And, not to completely cut this, apart, oh, thank you, by the way, sorry, what's your name, sir? I'm Minnove.
You're talking to the other Kraven who's kind of been walking with you.
Yeah, kind of like, I'm assuming like a little bit off to the side.
Yeah, he kind of distanced himself a bit once you came up and started talking to Tuki to give you two some space. When you start addressing him, he pulls in a little closer. Juma.
Juma, oh, what a
Yeah,
lovely name.
Right?
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you for keeping Tuki company, and thank you
Yeah.
for all your hard work and such.
Don't lay it on too thick now, eh?
Oh, I lay it on thick. That's the only way I know how to do about it. But much appreciated.
You sort of
Would you be?
Go ahead.
Oh, no. You do. You
Okay, yeah.
speak your words.
Yeah, he sort of gives you a sort of a gentle smile, Tuki, and he just utters to you in whistle tongue. You've got nothing to be sorry for. All right? You're still shaken. You're still rattled. Take some time, get your head together. But please do not tell yourself, do not convince yourself that what happened here is on your shoulders. I heard what Jenny said. Jenny was right. Whether or not the situation could have gone better is no longer relevant. You did the best you could.
I'll nod and in whistle tongue say thank you.
Right. I'll leave you two to it. He sort of nods down to you, Minnove. Turns and starts heading back toward town to give you two your space.
So, Tuki, I also have another thing I need to propose. We need to go see the mayor. The party is waiting for us to go catch up with them. So, would you care to join me on our way to the mayor, if you are so comfortable, Miss Fletcher?
I'm feeling a bit more up to it now, Miss Ringdancer.
Then let's be on. As she kind of stretches out, she's gonna walk with her hands above her head, kind of almost doing the Y in the YMCA.
Just doing the big anime stretch.
Well, just more or less just putting her arms out and just walking with her hands, palms facing, and walking forward.
You kind of get a few satisfying from your back as you do that.
Oh, walking all day has been absolute killer on my tail. Absolutely. I don't know how you all do this.
Funny story. Oftentimes I can't.
Can't stretch? Can't crack? Can't what?
Oh, I thought you were talking about walking all day. Because I do.
Oh, yeah. I'm not. What? It's the thing, right? That I'm sorry, don't know much about cultures of such of Kraven. I'm not really familiar with any of them, but the thing.
The thing, that is so helpful.
I don't know. It's the thing of I want to say pining.
Yearning.
Close enough, I guess.
Pretty close.
Yeah. I'd give myself a passing grade on that, right?
Yes, it is. It is that. Why I can't sit still.
What happens if you do?
Many things.
Well, that's very descriptive.
It's like I feel like I have so many strings tied to my heart, and it's always one of them is always tugging, and I must follow that one. And when I try to stand still, it's like they all start pulling in every direction. It hurts.
It
feels like I'm going crazy.
You can kind of see Minnove kind of thinking, pondering something in that little brain of hers. Cogs are definitely turning. Well. So it's like... How do I describe it? It's almost... It sounds like an instrument of some sort. The heart on the string tugged. strings of a lute, the strings of a stringed instrument, just in general. And Minnove just kind of like pulls out and just kind of starts playing like Ted, like testing a few chords.
Tuki's just gonna smile and listen.
And I think that's it from Minnove.
All right. So then, eventually, you find yourselves reconvening back at the Lamb Song Inn. Am I correct in assuming that?
That's more or less the plan.
I'm assuming that's where we're gonna go. I'm assuming we see them like walking towards there.
You eventually I'll just say you all sort of eventually reconvene at the inn. I'd say about lunchtime, though. No one is here for lunch right now.
They're a little busy.
Everyone's kind of got a lot going on.
I could eat.
Yeah. So, as you kind of you all kind of, I'll say you all kind of start meeting up sort of right about outside the front door at about the same time, so.
Is Donald there?
Yes, actually. Thank you for reminding me that he exists. He hasn't been important for a bit.
He's been resting. He's been through shit.
Yeah. So, like, as you step into the front door, you sort of peer around as you're sort of just exchanging a few quick words just to sort of confirm that, yep, we did our thing. And as you're sort of stepping in, you hear sort of hollered from across the way. Right, so what the hell have I missed? You'll sort of look up and you see Donald, now in somewhat cleaner clothes and looking like he attempted to give himself a bit of a trim and didn't succeed. Sort of sitting at a table, just sort of eyeing you all very intently. Because I get the impression I missed some things.
Ludviek goes, well, Boron? Kari? Do you want to fill him in? Actually, it was Boron. He said Boron. You want to fill him in?
Yeah, well, these merc guys turned out to be a bunch of murderers, and we kind of got them, and Kate was in the way, and things happened. It's complicated.
I'm getting that impression, yes.
We got them in the end. Most of them.
Huh. Goodness.
All in all, the murderers have been brought to justice. The ones leading the group have been captured. The boy, he's alive. And we are hungry. So, where's Jenny?
You kind of hear her voice calling out, sort of somewhat muffled from behind the door that heads back to the room with Percy in it. I'm over here.
Need a hand at the kitchen?
I'm not in the kitchen.
All right.
All right. Okay.
I'm gonna go into the kitchen. Gonna make me sandwich.
He's like, are you in the kitchen? No, I'm not in the kitchen. Well, someone's got to make a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Knock yourself out. Think you've earned the right to take a sandwich.
I'll pay for it.
Very begrudgingly sounding.
Speaking of, Tuki will pull out the pouch and give back the 5 to Minnove and 10 to Boron.
What?
What?
You guys
Yeah,
gave me
because
money
You
to
gave...
bribe Jaka, and I ended up not using it.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
This is why we have notes. I got notes from this stuff.
Almost forgot about it.
The road
I'm gonna...
paying somebody
I'm gonna...
back?
I'm gonna put them back in the pouch, and I'm like, give this to. We'll keep this on hand.
Oh, while we're at it,
If you want your money back, Boron, you're more than welcome to take it back.
Yeah, why not?
Okay. Here you go.
We give everybody
1, 2,
4
3,
gold coins
4,
that we
5.
that I looted from the bodies of the fallen bandits.
Well, I actually want to propose something with that money, if possible.
Okay.
If anyone's opposed to it.
What?
Well, seeing as the money was given from the town to the merchants, and the boy is sort of the victim in this situation, I was wanting to wonder if, like a savings fund for when he's older. Doesn't really have anything.
Not much of a bank in this town, but it might be useful to at least help raise him, considering Jenny is taking on extra responsibility.
That's just my proposal about at least my cut of it.
Makes sense, yeah.
Like, as soon as Minnove suggests it, Tuki, turns her hand down, puts the coins onto the counter, and slides them forward to start a pile.
Alright. So...
And how many was that in total that you were giving us each?
It was in total it was 20 gold. So,
okay, so you were given 4 to each person. Okay.
Yeah.
Ludviek just takes 1, but gives 3. So yes.
Minnove puts in an additional 5 from the pouch that she was going to use to bribe. The money that she was going to use to bribe
All right.
Jaka with.
All right, so I'm just waiting for y'all to finish doing the math so I can do a full tally.
Oh,
currently 12.
Okay, I got the 20 that I looted and the 10 that I gave Tuki, so it's like 30 for me.
Well, I thought you gave out the...
Ah, wait. Okay, no.
Essentially, it's 20 plus 15, so it'd be 35.
It's 19 plus 15 because...
19, because... Yeah.
Ludviek kept one.
Ludviek selfishly kept one.
There's a child dying in a bed, Ludviek. And what are you telling me? Your god isn't charitable?
We also don't know what Kari's doing.
Yeah.
Also, to which Ludviek says, is like, it is good to be charitable. It is also wise to be knowledgeable that you do not need to give everything.
It's a child.
And I do believe that even 10 gold in this town would be quite a hefty sum.
Well, more or less giving it
that is
to
true.
the town to help them with also the damages that were happening as well. The burial, the funeral. The list goes on.
Burial.
They've also had a very net long. Just saying, you don't have to, but Minnove is definitely 100% what's the word? Gaslighting?
Guilt tripping?
Guilt tripping, yeah.
Yeah, gaslighting implies trying to make someone doubt their own understanding of events.
Yeah. Guilt tripping.
Unlike you, Sonic, I have been with Amy all night, you fucking gaslighting asshole.
Yeah.
So says Knuckles the Echidna. Anyway. Yeah, 50 brownie points for anyone who understands that reference.
Sounds like a Sonic dub. Anyway, so Boron's in the kitchen being chef.
Yep.
What is Kari doing?
Good question.
What time of day is it?
I'd say it's a little past lunchtime at this point.
Tuning his guitar.
All right.
Except not obnoxiously.
All right. All right, so I'll just assume someone sits down with Donald to get him fully up to speed on everything he missed.
Yeah, I can have Ludviek do that.
All
I
right.
was kind of hoping Kari would, be the bard and go, but it was an epic tale of great adventure. Let me regale you, Mr. Donald.
He doesn't know him.
Yeah,
That is true.
nor
think
does
that's
Minnove, really.
He's just a guy.
Yeah.
I know, but I don't know. It kind of feels like Kari would just do that. All right.
Okay, fine. Dun-dun-dun.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Donnell, let me regale you with the tale of the 5 adventurers and the just as many dozen bandits out in the woods.
Spare me.
Donald is going to kind of point at Kari and look at the rest of you. You picked up another one.
I'm going to roll performance.
Roll it. 26. All right, so, you kind of make a big deal out of recounting the events of your most recent escapade with this group, your long journey out to the south, following the scent trail of the mingling passing of the child between hands, the brief encounter with the wolves, which you definitely embellish for far more than that momentary encounter was worth, to make it seem far more intense and interesting. The epic battle at the tower south of the town, which you embellished to have a few spell slots higher than you were actually using at the time to make it seem much more impressive.
And a few less chaos.
Yeah, and it is very entertaining. And Donald kind of listens as you are, you're not singing necessarily. You haven't necessarily had the time to write down sheet music, but you're definitely strumming that guitar between little bits, just sort of using it as instrumental musical accompaniment to what's happening.
Spoken word is what they call it.
Yes. And after a bit, I'd say about half an hour, because it's not a short string of events, and oh man, you are milking this. You finally reach the end of the tale with one last final sort of do-do-do-do-do on your guitar. And Donald is just looking at you for a few seconds. So how much of that was true, as he sort of turns to the rest of you?
Mostly true. Though I think I did notice you curiously left out the absences of the multitude of arrows you took, Kari.
Excuse you. You clearly weren't listening. You think I would not regale this lovely gentleman with the drama and tragedy of such an event? Especially when the wounds are so visible on my body yet now. Your words wound me deeper than any of those arrow shafts, Sir Lion.
I assume at this point, Boron has brought out sandwiches for everyone.
I imagine it would take him a lot less time than half an hour to make sandwiches for everyone, given it takes me 2 minutes. So, yeah. I imagine everyone's just kind of been casually munching on sandwiches while Kari has been recounting this tale.
Dinner and a show.
Dinner and a show, or lunch and a show, at least.
Kari, I must admit, was better than I expected.
But you what? But, my goodness.
What?
You throw such shade at me.
What?
You never
What'd I
given
do?
me that compliment before.
Minnove.
What, Kari?
You haven't told the tale.
It's nothing personal.
I feel like it's very personal.
Well,
Boron just scratching his head. What'd I do?
What are you?
You could definitely tell Minnove is milking this
no, you're
one
in
up
for it
to-
now.
No, I can't.
You cannot.
Ludviek
What,
just laughs at the
isn't
whole thing.
Boron's insight like -3 or something?
No, actually, he has a +2 in insight.
Ah, you're just choosing not to use it for the comedy.
More or less, yeah.
Ludviek turns to Donald and says, all in all, it sounds like we may be able to head out tomorrow. Is that fine with you, Donald?
I mean,
I got you,
yes.
donkey.
Oh yeah, you did buy a donkey, didn't you?
I did.
I forgot about that. It's still hanging out in the
I did
stables.
not.
It has no idea what the fuck is going on right now.
The donkey does not care, for it just
Yeah.
munches the sod.
Yeah. Donald just Donald nods. I mean, if you're confident that all the matters you need to deal with here have been squared away, then yes, leaving tomorrow I wouldn't be against it. At the same time, though, if you're in the middle of things, I don't wish to interrupt you. My family's
Yeah.
waited a while for me to get home. They can wait a few days longer if you need to square things away here.
I think we need to get going, really.
Aside from what the mayor needs, a word from each of us, they might. There is a couple matters I do need to tend to. Actually, now that I think on it, Boron, might I ask for your assistance with a physical matter?
Yep,
The
sure.
family needs to be laid to rest. And he heads over to where Jenny is, and I'll let you guys continue the conversation.
All right.
I can't believe Boron left his eye off me. He said he'd keep his eye on me, and he just left it.
Am I still there?
I'm assuming you
No,
followed
you're-
Ludviek.
No, okay. Alright.
So,
I mean, if you need someone to watch over you, I can.
Yeah. See, that's cool. I don't need anyone to watch over me, but it was just really funny to tease him.
I think I was absent for part of how that began, so I've been a little confused about what's going on between the two of you.
Oh, just disagreements.
I believe Donald was there for that, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I think so.
I think he was.
Yeah. Donald kind of pipes up. Boron demonstrated a remarkable lack of trust in their first meeting.
Disagree.
I would say welcome to the club, but it's a pretty sucky club.
Welcome to the club, but the club pretty much sucks.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I'm necessarily one to speak on the matter, but from an outsider looking in, at least if the club gets bigger, you have more solidarity.
Still makes the point of joining the club being ridicules.
Jenny kind of comes sauntering out at this point. In an ideal world, there wouldn't need to be a fucking club.
Amen, sister. Amen. Oh,
Question,
Jenny.
did Boron happen to make one of those sandwiches for the kid, or was it just for the party?
I think I made just a bunch and left them on the table.
All right.
There are no more ingredients for sandwiches in that kitchen.
Are you implying that Boron made a Dagwood sandwich just like 3 feet tall?
No, I'm implying that Boron just kept going until there was nothing left to do.
That's what I usually do, yeah.
Not even Boron, but Mick, the player.
It's possible.
Oh my gosh.
Scooby and Shaggy gif.
Yeah.
Them eating gigantic sandwich stacks.
Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island.
Numbies. All right, well. Proceed, carry on. Anything else you wish to do?
Don't have anything else on Minnove's side that I can think of, unless anything. Oh, Kari!
Nah, I just wanted to do that.
Well,
He's done now.
I think Tuki's gonna just poke her head and see how Percy's doing.
Tuki could probably bring one of those sandwiches.
Yeah. You kind of step in. Jenny accompanies you. She brings one of the sandwiches in, yeah, as Will suggested. Still hasn't woken up. But he doesn't seem to be tossing or turning all that much.
He was quite heavily injured. It might be a while. But, has there been... His parents need to be buried, and I'd be willing to give them last rites. Would it be appropriate? Is there a graveyard in this area, or would just burying them on their land be preferable?
Kind of differs from family to family. We do have a graveyard in town, sort of northwestern side, but some folks prefer to be buried under their homes or near their homes.
Remind me, DM, how damaged was that house, by the way? Was that just ransacked?
This house was basically fine. There was like a window that got busted in, and a table and some chairs that got broken, and one bed that was displaced a couple of feet, but otherwise it was fine.
Okay, alright. Then, well, we're not gonna be fixing the house, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But, no, Ludviek says, well, seeing as how the mayor is still getting things organized, or he could question us, I can offer to at least bury them on their land and give them last rites. I'm not sure if they were followers of Suna, but it is the most I can offer.
Sounds fine to me. Not the first graves I dug.
We weren't necessarily super close, but I don't think they'd mind that, and it will be one less thing for the mayor to have to worry about.
All right. If the mayor begins looking for us, well, you know where to find us. Thank you, Jenny.
Oh, trust me, you've got time. I don't imagine he's going to be swinging by here until later tonight. Got a lot of fires around town to put out, a lot of fears that need assuaging.
I assume we can borrow a spade or two?
Yeah, I've got one in my backyard. You can have it.
Much appreciated. And then Ludviek heads out, I assume with Boron, and yeah, heads over there. So.
All right.
I'll take the spade.
All right. You go ahead. You take a shovel. Make your way over to the barrow's mouths. If you want us to cover that, we can.
2 minutes, real quick. Just.
All right.
I would say probably the best place would be behind the house, near that forested area.
All right. So.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So, you take a couple of minutes. Ludviek and Boron heading back to the house. Spend a bit of time sort of digging out the requisite graves, bringing out the bodies, laying them down, going through all the general motions. It's quiet work, but no one disrupts or disturbs it. How do you wish to mark the graves?
Probably with any stones that would be large enough to at least create a marker enough.
All right, fair enough.
And he probably would use his holy symbol after they've been buried to consecrate the graves. As much as he's not a cleric, but he at least would be. I would assume he was taught a little bit about consecrating the dead, though. In his
you at the very least, it's not necessarily a magic thing. You do have last rites that are usually employed by Sunans. Generally speaking, when it comes to rites for the dead, in the vast majority of cases, it is Sunans who are generally entrusted with that, at least as far as religious internments and burials go. At least in those territories that practice pentism, since, well, it resonates better with people if the ones who advocate for peace and mercy are the ones who also administer the last rites to the deceased.
Makes very much sense. To which then, he would probably just say, nod to Boron. They probably didn't say much while they did the work. And after the couple's been buried, he would say to them, just looking at them, "Though you may have passed, your son yet lives, and in his memory you will continue to live on. From earth you are made, on stone you have fallen, and to the earth you will return. May Sona bless you."
All right.
That'd be it. And he would say, "Thank you, Boron."
Well, Boron has been more quiet than even usual for him. And while you're on the way back, I know how it is to, well, nah.
To lose someone, Boron?
Yeah, to cause harm to a child. Well, by inaction. For me, at least. And that really hit me deep. And I just can't get over it.
It is a terrible thing for such harm to come to one so innocent.
Yeah. I can't really talk about it. It's it just gives me the creeps.
It is a sign you are of good moral character, Boron. And pats him on the back. You are a good man.
No, I'm not. Not at all.
You may say this, but your actions say otherwise. And it is by actions that we judge one another. But as for right now, this is the most that could be done for them.
Right.
And for us, well, still have quite a bit left to do. So,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the on Jaka and his remaining cohorts?
Honestly, if I was in charge, they'd be dead already.
I can see that.
I honestly don't care at all. It's if they I'm not one for trials.
In my tribe, pause. Remind me, Skij, if I remember reading correctly, in Rythar culture, I didn't see too much on crime and punishment, but I assume it mostly operated on banishment or from like a tribe. If like someone had done something as quite as heinous as what Jaka and his group had done.
Generally speaking, it kind of follows a similar model, to draw a comparison to another property. It follows a similar model to how the Quarians do it in Mass Effect. Because of how the Rythar live with their nomadic lifestyle and the fact that they are carnivores, they don't necessarily get the option of maintaining large populations, so that means it is ill-advised in their culture, except in the most extraordinarily extreme of circumstances, to commit to death penalties, because it removes potential from the gene pool, and it is considered to kill in an act of revenge against one's own kind to be a manifestation of Rojathan tendencies. And since Raithari culture is, in most cases, so ferociously bent on counteracting and opposing and fighting the Rojatha at every possible front, anything that could be considered resemblant to the Rojatha is usually frowned upon. So...
And that's why Ludviek.
So it is usually exile with any offspring able to be welcomed back into the tribe.
Okay, yeah, that's why, and it was because of that kind of mentality that drew Ludviek eventually to Sunninism. Okay, yeah, that works out well. Okay, yeah, basically, all right. In such matters that would happen with my tribe, we would not. Death was a very rare thing to happen in response to a heinous act. Most would be exiled from the tribe, but with the chance of their progeny to come back. It was seen as committing the same act as the what again? The Heredin?
Rojatha.
Rojatha. That's it. Yes.
I'll type in chat.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. All right.
Literally translated means wind demon.
Okay. Thank you. Be seen the same as the Rojatha of which we fight against. So, the best I can say for this group of Jaka and his men, as I said to him, I will try to make sure his men do not see the same harsh punishment of what they want of him, as he was their leader, so he is responsible for them. But these are these people, these are their lands, these are their customs. Most I can do, try to prevent more death. At least, more unjust death.
Well, I know the land and the customs. I'm originally from just a few days of walk from here. But everyone does it individually. Some feel like swift judgment is the thing. Some just stuck him in a prison or make him work or something. It's it happens.
In my short time of travels, I have seen quite a varied amount of how one would treat others, both in ill and in fortune. It is quite an interesting group of people I have met, including the one who walks by my side. He smiles at that.
Yeah, Boron is not one for smiles today, apparently, but
Ludviek just nods in understanding.
I'll just like to get on.
Alright.
Next town is Antarine. We'll be meeting a few people that I know there.
Ah, family? Friends?
Nah.
Ah, leave me in suspense, I see.
I don't know who we'll meet, but like I said, I'm not really a good person.
And again, your actions say otherwise. Maybe one day I'll be able to prove it to you.
All right. Yeah, and we'll make it back to Lamsong.
All right. So, You make your way back to the Lamb Song Inn. Is there anything else in particular anyone wishes to do during the long wait for the mayor to come around?
Nah.
I think Tuki's just hanging out, waiting on that or Percy to wake up, whichever happens first.
All right. Well then, in that case, we'll cut to the room to Tuki. Is Minnove with Tuki, or anyone else?
I think so.
Sorry, I muted my. I mean, Minnove could if you want.
It's up to you where you put your characters. I'm just asking so I know who all's in the room.
I think Minnove saw
Waiting
Tuki
for
kind
Percy.
of sneak away and followed.
All right. So then, sort of
M-
hanging out in the room that Percy is resting in. I'd say after a few hours pass, eventually, the kid starts to stir. And sort of blinks his eyes open. What happened?
Percy? How are you feeling?
I'm hungry.
Boron, the half-dwarf with the eye patch, he made you a sandwich?
Right, the grumpy one.
Grumpy one, but sure knows how to make a good
I
sandwich.
am not
don't
grumpy.
It's delicious.
So you hand Percy a sandwich. He slowly sits up. Thank you. What happened?
You got hurt.
Oh.
I did my best to save you, and I brought my friend Ludviek, the other lion man, the big friendly one wearing green, has the big mustache.
The one who talks funny?
Yes. I don't know if I should be talking about people who talk funny, but yes.
He keeps forgetting words.
He does.
He kind of like pats his chest a couple times. I don't really remember what happened.
That might be for the better.
I remember hearing people shouting. And after hearing you and Miss Jenny talk, I thought you might be in trouble. So I went outside and I saw you and you were sword fighting that other guy, and I thought you were in trouble and you saved me, and I wanted to help you too, so I ran at him, and it just kind of like makes like a cloud puffing gesture with his hand. Did I beat him?
You know, in a way you did. Yes. Because of you, everybody knew that he was a liar. You did save me.
Yay.
Though you did lose your feather.
Oh.
I told you it wouldn't make a very good weapon, but
Well, I didn't have anything else.
she'll pluck another one. Just, I can't give you too many more, or my tail is going to be bald.
Does that hurt?
Yes, but I don't tell them that.
Oh, okay.
Percy kind of takes the feather and holds it a bit more gently and carefully this time, whereas last time he kind of held it like a broadsword. This time he's holding it with a bit more reverence.
You're a very brave boy, Percy.
Dad sometimes said I was dumb as a bag of rocks. He always did it when ruffling my hair, though. So, like...
I think he was just teasing you.
Around this time, Minnove start to kind of tune her instrument very quietly.
Percy kind of
And
looks...
not annoying,
Yeah. Percy kind of looks your way, sort of tilts his head. Right, you were the kobold?
Yeah, close enough. Hello there, Percy, right?
Mm-hmm. Why do they
I'm
call
glad
you
you're doing all right.
kobolds? You made fire.
Well, some of us are pretty cold, not gonna lie. I'm probably one of a very warm kobold.
He kind of looks at you for a second, then his eyes kind of drift past your face and a little up, and he's like, I like your horns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Wanna touch them?
Can I?
Of course, you don't think I touch my own horns? Like, come on, bud.
Well, yeah, but Mom told me it's rude to touch other people without their
Oh,
permission.
you asked. It's alright. I'm telling you to.
Okay. You kind of come over and tilt your head over at sort of a weird angle to give him access, and he kind of pats your horns a few times. Whoa, they're like big chicken bones.
Yeah, big chicken bones.
It's alright. I pulled a broadsword from my butt.
You did what?
Oh, yeah, she just did it a second ago, too. She drew a sword from her butt. It was so cool.
A great broadsword.
I don't think I'm going to be swinging this one at anyone, though. Kind of looks at it again. If they break that easy.
Very delicate.
Well,
Structure.
what I was telling you before is that my family and I, we used to sell those so that people could make arrows.
Sort of looks at the tail feathers like, big arrows. Do you sell to giants? Because, I mean, again,
Well,
for emphasis, because, again, for emphasis, your tail feathers are massive, especially for the purposes of making arrows.
Well, Tuki, do you sell these to giants? Because, do you? That'd be really cool if you did.
You know, the person I sold them to is not giant, but they might sell the finished arrows to giants.
See, that's pretty cool.
Kind of looks at the feather for a few minutes. Kind of twirls it around in his hands a few times. It's real pretty.
Thank you.
Percy,
Hmm?
I have a question for you.
What?
So, remember before you and Tuki came back here and last night I said I'd play you a song?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to hear one?
I mean, if it's okay.
It's my job, of course.
Okay.
Minnove will start to strum,
Alright.
and in a very kind of like low kind of hum, she's going to cast a prestidigitation
Ooh.
to kind of make it feel like a magical kind of moment, as like slight gusts kind of twirl around Percy and Tuki's like feathers and hairs respectively,
Okay.
kind of
Go-
making it like a little bit of a sweetness.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you do that. No rolls needed.
And I'd also like, if possible, just for the flavor of it, to cast heroism on Percy.
Heroism. A willing creature you touch is imbued with bravery until the spell ends.
If it's allowed, she will put her tail over top of his lap.
Sure, I'll allow it. That's super cute. So, you go through all those motions. You cast a couple of little spells and cantrips to make it a more meaningful performance and experience for the kid, and it definitely has an effect. You can tell that Percy is very enraptured by the song and just the general sort of magical moments, and you can get the impression this is going to stick with this kid for the rest of his life.
And the song that's playing is a very comforting one to Minnove, as she is enjoying playing it with both the child.
Yeah. Tuki, with your perfect Kraven memory, you'll be able to clock the music that Minnove is playing right now. I am assuming is the same one as what was played on the stage the night you all met.
Mm-hmm.
And also the same one playing in the Watch Together right now. Percy
Well.
listens very intently, and eventually the song starts to wind down.
How are you feeling, bud?
I don't know. I feel better, but, things aren't going to go back to normal, are they?
No. Sorry. But you have a whole town of people that love you. And that's not gonna change.
He kind of gives you a little nod, a tiny little smile. That a heroism spell kind of does its thing. Okay. I'll try to be brave for it.
You already are. And she's gonna give him a little kiss on the forehead and head on out. And let Tuki do her thing if she would like to do something with Percy.
I think she's just gonna give him a hug and follow Minnove out. Just try and get some rest once you're done with your sandwich.
Okay. Thanks, Miss Tuki.
You're very welcome, Percy. Thank you.
Kind of tilts his head curiously as you say that before you kind of step out and close the door behind you to leave him to his rest.
Cute kid.
Very
Very.
cute.
Well then. So, let me see here. Is there anything else anyone wishes to do, or are you all just knuckling in for the wait?
I want to see this mirror.
All right. All right, then. In that case, after a while, bit by bit, some people start to filter back in to the inn and the tavern as sort of the chaos of the day sort of starts to go away. But not many. Jenny sets about taking care of the interior of the space. And as it's getting on towards about dinner time, sun starting to dip toward the horizon, trading gold for silver as the ring becomes the only prominent source of light in the sky, the front door pops open, and those of you who met him will recognize the mayor, Morondace, stepping in. He sort of casts his eyes about before his eyes sort of settle on your group at your table. He walks over. Today has been one of the busiest days I've ever had, as he pulls out a chair and sits down across from you. Well then. And he sort of looks over at Tuki and Minnove. I don't believe I've been acquainted with you two yet.
Oh, hello. I'm Minnove. I was one of the performers on the stage last night.
Right.
How'd you do? How'd you do?
I am as well as could be expected, reasonably, given the events of the day.
Yeah, I wouldn't... No offense, but I wouldn't really want your job right now.
I didn't really want my job, but someone's got to do it. So...
It's a dirty job and someone's gotta do it.
And his eyes
I
then
do
sort
imagine Kari's actually singing that.
No. That was player. It was out of character.
All right. His eyes then turn to you, Tuki. Is like, and you, what was your name again?
Name is Tuki Fletcher.
Charmed. Well then. I've heard quite a tale spun about you five, but I would like to hear it from your point of view.
Well, Kari wrote a whole song about it.
I do not think it would be time sensitive to have him regale the tale again.
No, certainly not. Please.
Well, what kind of questions would you have there, sir?
Well, I suppose first of all I want a full breakdown on what you uncovered about Jaka's operation, because I have heard numerous conflicting things about that man and his operation over the course of the last 48 hours. This morning I was told that you and yours were disrupting the operations that I had hired them to perform in the vicinity of my town. And then only a few hours later, that story gets turned on its head when I heard that their spokesman attempted to murder a child. And I fear that in all of the chaos and the rumor mill and gossiping of a rattled village, the truth hasn't exactly reached me, but I've been assured of the quality of your character by Jenny, at the very least. So I want you to bring me up to speed on your perspective on things.
Well, Mr. Mayor, if I may, have you, are you familiar with the term loan sharking?
I am familiar with the term loan sharking, yes.
They were loan sharking you.
I'm rather getting that impression. What I want right now are specifics.
Long story short,
Well,
the Lugrith doesn't exist. Made up. completely.
I would say
All Jackas and their creation.
exactly. I would say, in a quick summarization of all the events, from what we gathered, this group basically was using you as a mark, creating a fictional situation and offering protection from such situation. But from what I've gathered at least, it seems that the death of the first group was done out of some form of retribution against those who deserved it. Whereas the death of the boys, of Percy's parents, seems to have been wrong place, wrong time. As for the rest of the group, it seems that their only goal was to fleece the town for their coffers while taking out vengeance against those they thought that had wronged them. As for the direct murders, Boron, you have it? And he's talking about the claws. You will find that you will find while these have been warped due to combat, these would have been the implements that were used to, well, slaughter the first family and most likely the second one. You can tell entirely by, well, the type of weapon itself. Which would have been done by that right there. And he is dead.
Very.
As for
cremated.
the incident with Bonin, that seems to have been entirely him improvising and it not going his way. I would say it seems the rest of the band has scattered, and the only ones that remain now are the ones in your captivity. The ones who have committed any murder or harm seem to be dead.
So we're just going to call theft no, not harm, aren't we?
Physical harm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you were the one that got hit on the head and robbed.
Oh, yes, I need to pursue that lead.
Well. It is a very high-view summary of events, at the very least. God, he sort of rubs his head. I'm not really cut out for shit like this. Most of the time, the most complicated thing I have to deal with is someone getting too rowdy after having too many drinks.
Well, how would you treat them?
Well, usually when people are drunk off their rocker, they're not in their right state of mind, so I show a degree of leniency. Plus, this is a very small town, and we don't necessarily have the facilities or resources for anything more complicated than stick them in a cell for a few days, let them sleep it off, and then just have them pay back any damages they did in fines to the town hall.
Well?
These individuals, Jaka and his gang, that's a whole order of magnitude beyond anything like that.
What would you do if it was purposeful?
If the damage is purposeful?
Like the violence or of a drunkard?
Oh. On account of the fact we don't have the facilities for anything more complicated, probably the same basic idea, but longer, steeper fine, getting kicked out of town if there's enough frustration in the populace.
So, I believe it's all up to the town and yourself as well. We shouldn't really play a part of that, but...
I do actually have a request that you are free to reject, but...
I'm listening.
I do not know the correct answer for what to be done, but I know that what drove them was a sense of loss and injustice. These are people who went through life without a kindness shown to them. And I realized that I am very close to have been feeling the same way they do. I would hope that maybe Lambsong might be able to be the first to show them some kindness.
You're advocating mercy.
I would also like to add that, well, the crimes that did happen, I would say Jokka's men mostly operated from an area of ignorance. From the one I spoke outside of Percy's house, had no inkling, other than the boy actually was possibly kidnapped by a monster. In fact, many probably believe the story themselves. It seems that the machinations were entirely done by Jokka, right here, and Balan. The rest of them, I would say, were no more than, well, no more than men just doing what they are told by their leader, with no malice towards anyone else. I cannot speak for Jokka and his character, other than that he cares deeply for his men.
God.
It is not an easy thing.
You need to understand, I'm not a confrontational or malicious man by nature. But the rest of the town... We don't really have much in the way of a standing force here. I'm sure you've noticed, hence our reliance on the hired help when we thought we were under threat from a monster. We look out for ourselves, look out for each other. This is a very tight-knit community.
So then, maybe make them do the job. They don't get money, but they get food, shelter.
The point I was getting to was that though I might feel inclined to afford that small degree of mercy myself, I cannot speak for the rest of the town on that. You need to understand, I'm not just the only one here who has to administer justice on things like this. I have to keep in mind how the rest of the town will respond.
Makes sense.
They can't say if I know what justice looks like.
Well, one of our children was almost murdered, so with that in mind, you can imagine that in the eyes of basically everyone here, justice is going to look like a lot of really taut ropes.
Sounds fine.
If
to
need
me.
be, the one who did harm Percy is no longer with us. Justice has been dealt to him.
That is true. But Bannon was an underling.
They'll come to terms with it. These townspeople have to decide.
Could just hold a town hall.
Probably.
Though I may not be...
Though that's not something I would do tonight. Emotions are still far too flared. If I'm going to do that, it's going to be in a few days' time, once everyone's had a chance to rest, catch their breath, and calm the hell down.
Good point. Well...
And I still need to actually talk to the prisoners, too.
I mean, we spoke to them.
Yes, but also, I have a job to do.
Well, yeah.
That
I
being
can go with you in that.
well,
Make sure they don't try anything, at least.
I'll tell you this much. I absolutely plan on getting a proper militia started after this mess. We've largely relied on patrols going in and out of Antarine, just generally following the circuit for most of our protection. But they've been rather late recently, so...
Is that unusual?
It happens sometimes. Don't know why they're late this time. They're usually not inclined to tell us. It's not our pay grade. Tiny little town like this, basically no military or economic significance other than a place for merchants to park their butts for a day. We enjoy protection from the capital, but we don't get much information from them.
That is why I thought maybe community service, where they actually do the job they were supposed to. They're capable enough.
It'd be quite a tall ask for anyone in this village to trust them with a sword. But perhaps trust could be earned over time, though I'm not sure about Jaka himself.
Jaka is a murderer, and he murdered in cold blood. He was wounded when he came out of the huts when Minnove saw him.
Right. Whatever happens to his men, Jaka will not be running free. I'll tell you that much.
Speaking of which, the parents of Percy have been laid to rest behind their house, though the house itself will need some repair.
If there's an idea, maybe I'll just stick them on that.
It would be a start. Anyway, I will go with you when you need to interrogate them. Boron, I have a feeling I'm going to be watching them tonight. Not that I don't think they will try anything, but that there may be some trying to look for their own form of justice before anything official happens. Not that I would imply that your lovely villagers might do something, but...
Tempers running as high as they are, they very well might. Yet another reason to invest in getting a militia started.
That sounds reasonable.
Right.
Wouldn't hurt to have men with swords that you trust.
Exactly. Here's what I'm thinking then, though I'll still hold a town hall. Jaka will be held here until such time as word can be gotten to proper authorities in Antarine, at which point I imagine the Cadam's men will want to have Jaka transferred to a proper cell to serve out a proper sentence. As for his underlings, assuming that I can convince my people to be reasonable and take your advice of mercy into consideration. They'll be put to work repairing the damage to the structure that their bosses caused. And then once I've had a chance to work out whatever infrastructure or buildings are required to facilitate the foundation of a militia, they'll be put to work building those. And after that, we'll see how things are.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
That's what I'll propose to the town hall, at least. There's still a very real probability that all 4 of those people are just going to hang.
I'd be willing to advocate on behalf of his men.
Not a big loss, in my opinion.
No, but I've never much had the stomach for the gruesome side of things. Well, I suppose it was bound to happen sooner or later. Well,
I do hope it never happens again to your village.
same here. Same here. Well, if you're planning on sitting in with me when I go to speak with Jaka, then perhaps you'd be willing to give me a more in-depth recounting of events. You've given me the gist of things, but full detail would be welcome. I don't want to miss any details.
I would be more than happy to. Is there anybody else who wishes to keep watch on them tonight?
Yeah, definitely.
No.
How come?
My part in this is done.
Well.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, I don't know what's going to be happening tomorrow. I mean, who knows? Maybe it isn't. I want it to be done now.
You do still have to find out whoever robbed you, too. I do believe, Jenny was having someone looking on it.
Yes. And then he's gonna get up and Scooby-Doo run away like that.
Okay. I don't know why, but all right.
Because I looked at the Scooby-Doo gif again on accident.
It's stuck in your head.
Right.
It plays over and
Minnove.
over again in my mind.
Minnove will be like, I would like to go talk to Jenny too, and I'm kind of done with Jaka, so good luck.
All right. Make sure you're still here come the morning at the very least. Now, I shouldn't put any of this off. I am going to go and have that chat with Jaka. With that, the mayor stands up and goes to take his leave. And with your plans thus delegated and things starting to simmer down, that is where we are going to end for the night. And everyone ascends to level 4.
Yoo-hoo!
Yeah.
Whoa. I never thought we'd get to this moment.
Yahoo!
All right. So, thank you all, ladies and... Please don't do that. Please.
Wasn't me.
This is the wrong franchise. This is the wrong franchise.
And write me a victory fanfare for the next time we level up that's appropriate.
I just get the one that's in Baldur's Gate 3.
Anyways, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, God, zoomed out way too far. So much for joining us for this session of Ringlight Fables. We'll see you next time, if I can click these things in sequence properly. Until then, take care of yourselves. keep listening, and don't be a dick. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Go with Suna's blessings.